All right, so the next thing after we add materials and change the appearance on things is to go in and actually make a better looking image for it. We can also go in and reorientate some of this stuff. So I'm going to go to design and render, and you'll see that automatically it looks more kind of realistic-y. And so the first thing we're going to do is the grain on this one is going vertically. I want it to go horizontally. So I'm going to go here to texture map controls, pick on that object, and just rotate that material that way. These are vertical. If I want those to go forward to back also, because they were all cut kind of the same way. Grab that, rotate it. So this is called texture mapping, where we're changing kind of how the texture's being applied to it. We could move the texture forward and backwards. You can kind of see it moving there. Let me do it on one you can see a little bit better. So if I do that, I tell it to be planar. I can tell it which plane I want to line up with, kind of which axis. And now I can go in, rotate that around, slide it back and forth. This way doesn't do anything because I can't do that, but I can slide it up and down or whatever I wanted to get that to line up the way I wanted it to. So I can kind of check, make sure everything is going the correct directions. It is. All right, cool. Now we're going to set up our actual render. So we have some other options here. So again, we have our appearances. So if we want to go back in and start changing some more appearances, we can do that here. We can go to our scene settings. We can also just grab things and move things to reposition them if we want to. But we're going to go in to scene settings. And this is where we're going to tell it kind of where we are. And so I can put in an environment, and by picking on, double click on these, I can get different lighting situations. Okay, so like if I did that in sharp highlights, I like that rim highlights. Now that's going to really make the top of those shells kind of pop out. I can also do these outside ones. So if I download that and double click on it, now it's going to put it there, but I can't see the picture. So if I go to settings and so background, I say environment, now I can see that environment there. So I can orbit around, right, to change my view of that. And then I can kind of put my object in there where I want it to be. I can also position the background, so I can rotate it kind of sideways. And I can move it up and down. So I can use this to kind of move up and down where that ground is, or where the shadow is going to fall. And so I can turn on and off reflections. It doesn't really work with this background image. So if I did a solid color though, I could turn on reflections, and now I can see kind of the bottom side in the reflection. If I wanted that, I could also change the camera from perspective to orthographic, or perspective with ortho faces. So it means that the faces are orthographic, so like an oblique kind of thing. And I can also change, you know, the lighting exposure there. If we go to the perspective, I can change the focal length, so I can kind of get different effects based on what kind of camera would be used for that. And then I can again adjust exposure for kind of the overall brightness. Depth of field, if I pick that, that'll let me actually make it so that parts of the image are in focus and parts aren't. And then kind of I can adjust how much blur is going to be on what's non-focus. I want to turn that off for now. And you can kind of come in, do whatever you want. I'm going to go back to the rim highlights there. And so that's there. And yeah, that's a good setting for me. But for your playgrounds, you might want to use your fields, one of these other situations. So I'm just going to hit close that. And then I can add decals. If I had a sticker, an image, I can put that on. So I can insert an image and apply it to a face, to have a sticker or a label or something like that. But now I went over here to rendering. So if I do in canvas render, it's going to start rendering it on my computer right here. And it's going to go through and work on refining the lights and the shadows as it goes. And it's going to take a while. You can see kind of excellent quality. It needs to get all the way to here. And right now it's only about halfway. Want final quality, needs to go a little bit more. But this will kind of give you a little bit better view of what's going on with it. I'm going to stop that. I can go to here to change what those settings are for those. Or I can do a final render. So if I go render here, it's going to ask me some options. If you're just on a personal account, you're only going to have the option for local render. If you're on a paid account or on an educational account, you can also use the cloud renderer, which is kind of the best thing. Again, you can go from a standard quality to a final quality. Educational accounts have unlimited credits, so you can do as many of these as you want. Select resolution, the exposure on it, and hit render. And it's going to start rendering it down here. Now you can move around, maybe go to a different view, and render this one also. And so now it's going to go through and it's going to render those down here. And then when they finish rendering on the cloud, they'll pop up here and you'll be able to see them. Let me see if I have. Let me see. There's a little BattleBot thing I was working on for a while. I think I have some rendering saved on here. So if I go to render, yep, so I've got some renders done there. So if I click on that, it'll bring it up and show what that render was. I was taking a picture of this wheel. Once you're here, you can download it into one of these formats. Use a PNG if you want. If you do transparent background, that means that anything that was just the background color, it'll save as transparent. So you can do that as a PNG there. And then now you can use that and upload it to wherever you want to. So, all right, that's the basics of rendering. So, go for it. You can see these images come out pretty nice. The shadows and the materials that you pick. All right, let's actually go back here and see how it's doing. Yeah, it's still waiting. So these sometimes it estimated setting is going to be 20 minutes because it needs to get in line and then get rendered. So don't worry about it. Just start rendering, go back, and you can queue a bunch of different things. So maybe I start this render here also, and do that and wait and see how that comes out. All right, talk to you later.